Welcome to the They Stole What lab. This is going to have the same rules that we did in the shipping lab, which is simply, please make sure you have access to Excel while you're doing this so you can follow along, do the hands-on. To begin with, we're going to create a simple worksheet. We need the following titles for our column areas. We need a name. We need cost of items stolen. We need total stolen. And we need average stolen. We'll cover the average stolen when we look at the average if portion. Once you've named your areas, now add the following names to the column underneath the names, as well as underneath total stolen and average stolen. You have Scott Lang, Selena Kyle, Felicia Hardy, Leonard Snart, and Margaret Pye. Once you've added the names, then continue adding the names from 6 all the way down to 20. So you're going to want to have this whole thing filled in. When you're done with just your names and labels, it should look something like this. Now you can put them in any order you want, but make sure you have one person's name at least 2 or 3 times in the group. You're going to need to have the variety when you do the totals and the average. When you're done, now you need to put cost of items stolen. I would suggest keeping it simple. As you see here, I gave Scott Lang $1. He stole $1. He stole $1. Selena Kyle stole $2. You can put anything you want there. I just kept it very simple, so it made a little bit more sense here and made a lot more sense on the averages. Now comes the fun part, the SUMIF portion. We are going to look over here at the totals stolen. This is where we want to add the totals. So let me explain the logic here. We want to know how much money Scott Lang has stolen. We want to know the cash value of all of the items that Scott has stolen, all the items that Selena has stolen, Felicia, etc., etc. We want to know their total ill-gotten gains. And so we're going to look here because we're looking for their names. That's our qualifier. That's where we're looking at. This is what we're going to add if it's true. So let's start with Scott Lang. I'm going to start with sum. It gives me some options. I'm going to double click on SUMIF. I'm going to go up here to the insert function button. Going to click that. It pops up this dialog box. It says, what's your range? Where are you looking? What information am I checking for? I'm going to go over here to Scott Lang. I'm going to hold Control-Shift down arrow, which selects this entire column. Then we're looking at the criteria. What am I looking for? What am I trying to see if it's true? Well, I'm trying to see how much money Scott Lang has stolen. What's the cost of goods that Scott Lang has stolen? So that's my criteria. I only want to add things that are associated with Scott Lang. Because it's text, I need to make sure I wrap it in quotation marks. So I'm going to type in Scott Lang, quotation marks. So far, what we have is the range. Where am I looking for this information? What information am I examining? This is the information. That's our range. What's the criteria? What are we trying to see if it's true? Well, we want to know if Scott Lang stole something. If this is true, then we're interested in this, we're interested in this, we're interested in this, we're interested in this, and everything that says Scott on it. So if it's true, then what am I adding together? What area am I adding? Well, this is where we want to add. Yeah, right? This is the amount of money that we want to total. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift, down arrow, and I'm going to click OK. And now that gave me my totals for Scott Lang. Let's double check. This is why I kept it simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that was done correctly. Let me do the same for Selena Kyle, but let me show you a shortcut. I know that this time I want Selena Kyle as my criteria. I'm going to go over here, select her name, hit copy so it's in my clipboard. We're going to do this again. Equals sum, there's SUMIF, double click that, go to my insert function button, click that. Where's my range? My range is right here, Control-Shift down arrow. What's my criterion? Who am I looking for this time? I'm looking for Selena Kyle. So I'm going to paste it right there. Quotation marks. And what am I adding together if it's true? I want this column. Control Shift down arrow. I'm going to click OK. That's $12. Let's see if we got this one right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So we got this one correct. I'm going to do the rest down here, and you can follow along. And there we go. We've used the SUMIF. So once again, taking a look at the formula. Let me pull up the formulas here. Here's formula. Show formulas. What I have is SUMIF. This is the command. Sum if the following is true. Where am I looking? What section, what column am I looking to find the information? I'm looking in this column. This is the column where I'm seeing what's going on. What's my condition? What has to be true? Well, in this one, I'm looking for Scott Lang. So there he is, etc. And if it's true, what area am I adding together? What area am I summing together? This is the area right here. So that is how the SUMIF function works. The average if function, which we're going to talk about next, is very, very similar. If you can do the SUMIF, you can definitely do the average if.